Starting off, we have lying about writing a song. In a 2008 interview with Marie Claire UK, Beyoncé implied that some of the lyrics to her 2006 single, Irreplaceable, weren't actually aimed at Jay-Z. But then controversy arose over the writing credits on Irreplaceable. Now, singer-songwriter Ne-Yo told MTV apparently Beyoncé was at a show somewhere, and right before the song came on she said, "I wrote this for all my ladies," and then the song came on. The song is a co-write, I wrote the lyrics, I wrote all the lyrics. Beyoncé helped me with the melodies and the harmonies and the vocal arrangement, and that makes it a co-write. Meaning my contribution and her contribution made the song what it is. Now, in 2011, Ne-Yo said he wrote the song for himself, but thought that it would be better suited for Beyoncé. Now, some of Beyoncé's fans read Ne-Yo's remarks as disrespectful towards her. However, he clarified his comment later through Twitter, writing, "I said I originally wrote the song for me. Once I realized how the song comes across if sung by a guy, that's when I decided to give it away." Next up is the tone-deaf performance. Beyoncé took part in a 9/11 memorial concert in New York City, but many people believe her performing her song Diva was in poor taste and wonder why she didn't get cancelled. In the track she says, "No passengers on my plane," as well, "This is a stick-up," which she fiercely sang in front of the families of 9/11 victims while putting her arms out like an airplane. The crowd got quiet back there, with someone noting under the YouTube's clips comments, "The literal buildings on the screen falling down, WTF," referring to the set's backdrop. Now, a Redditor also wrote, "But how is this the first time I've heard of this? This is genuinely one of the more tone-deaf performances I've seen. Who greenlit this?" Now, a commenter said that Jay-Z was to blame as he produced the concert, but yeah, that's just not a good look at all. Then there's Nothing Happened in the Elevator. In 2014, security footage was released of Solange attacking her brother-in-law Jay-Z in an elevator at a Met Gala after-party. Now, Beyoncé was there as well, stuck between her sister and her husband, but chose not to intervene and stood there as the two duked it out. Now, the family attempted to brush it under the rug with a vague PR statement, but it became a pop culture moment. Now, Beyoncé even references the altercation in her song Flawless remix, saying, "Of course sometimes go down when it's $1 billion on an elevator." Now, we still haven't found out the reason why Solange attacked Jay-Z, but fans have speculated that she was angry with his infidelity to Beyoncé, but nothing has ever been confirmed that was the reason why she attacked him. Now we have stealing songs. Beyoncé's album Renaissance was met with multiple critiques after its release. Just one day after the album dropped, Khalees slammed Beyoncé for using a sample of her 2003 hit song Milkshake, allegedly without her permission. On Instagram she wrote, "My mind is blown too because the level of disrespect and utter ignorance of all three parties involved is astounding. I heard about this the same way everyone else did. Nothing is ever as it seems. Some of the people in this business have no soul or integrity, and they have everyone fooled. It's not about me being jealous, it has to do with the fact from one artist to another that you should have the decency and common sense and courtesy to call. There are bullies and secrets and gangsters in this industry that smile and get away with it until someone says enough is enough." Khalees also called out producers Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo at the same time. But it's clear that most fans just focused on her beef with Beyoncé. Though neither Beyoncé nor her team publicly commented on the post, they ended up removing the sample from the Spotify version of Energy in August 2022, but to this day you can still find it on Apple Music. Moving on to the Dubai performance. When Beyoncé returned to the stage for her first live performance in 5 years, it really left fans divided. Now, to give you some background, her album Renaissance was labeled as a celebration of queer culture and made in collaboration with some of the LGBTQ community's biggest names. Now, it pays tribute to dance music that emerged out of the gay community and also references the 1800s drag ballrooms in Harlem, New York. So when the location for Beyoncé's long-awaited concert was revealed, it did not sit well with many of her fans. Now, she was reportedly paid around $25 million to perform at a star-studded private launch event for Dubai's Hotel Atlantis Kiss the Royal. While many fans rejoiced at Beyoncé's return to the stage, others pointed out the hypocrisy of performing in the UAE, where same-sex relationships are flat out illegal. Freelance music journalist Abigail Firth spoke to BBC News Beat about the controversy and pointed to the fact that Beyoncé's recent work is indebted to LGBT culture. She said, "It seems like a really misguided choice from her. She's obviously a multimillionaire anyway. She didn't really need to do this. She didn't really need the money." And that's probably where some of the backlash is stemming from as well. Then there's her rude lyrics. In August of 2022, Beyoncé announced that she would change the lyrics to her song Heated after backlash from disability rights activists. The track includes a slang term derived from an ableist word, which is considered a slur among people with cerebral palsy. Now, at the time, her team released a statement saying, "The word not used intentionally in a harmful way will be replaced." Not only that, but Beyoncé has also had other slip-ups with controversial lyrics. When her 2013 song Partition dropped, Monica Lewinsky complained about being in the song, which of course referenced her 1998 scandal. In an essay for Vanity Fair, she wrote, "Thanks Beyoncé, but if we're verbing, I think you meant Bill Clinton all on my gown." Now let's talk about the insensitive song. Speaking of inappropriate lyrics, this one got her in even more trouble. The song EXO from Beyoncé's 2013 album begins with audio of NASA's officer talking about a major malfunction involving the Challenger space shuttle, which exploded just over a minute after its launch. 7 astronauts passed away in the tragic incident, so it seemed a little insensitive for Beyoncé to use the audio in her song. Now, in a statement to ABC News, the singer tried to explain that she intended for the audio to be a tribute to those who died aboard the Challenger. "My heart goes out to the families of those lost in the Challenger disaster," she said at the time. The song EXO was recorded with the sincerest intention to help heal those who have lost loved ones and to remind us that unexpected things happen, so love and appreciate every minute that you have with those who mean the most to you. The songwriters included the audio in tribute to the unselfish work of the Challenger crew with the hope that they will never be forgotten. Now we have stealing performances. Beyoncé's 2011 Billboard Music Awards performance was one for the books, but it did cause some controversy. She did a rendition of Run the World Girls, but then she was accused of copying Italian singer Lorella Cuccari in a performance she did 1 year prior in 2010. They later explained being inspired by her, adding that she had no intentions of stealing her stunning visuals. "My makeup artist showed me the performance of Lorella Cuccari a year ago, and it inspired me so much. I then met with the talented people who worked on it. The technology and concept were so genius. Thank God for YouTube. Thank God for YouTube, or I would have never been exposed to something so inspiring. I've never worked so hard on anything in my life as that performance for the Billboard Awards," she told AOL Music following the backlash. But being inspired and directly copying, though, are two different things. Up next is stealing visuals. Beyoncé, Sony, Columbia, and the pop stars Parkwood Entertainment were all sued by indie filmmaker Matthew Folks over the visuals to her 2016 album Lemonade. Now, according to Matthew, Beyoncé jacked 9 scenes from his film Paranoia. He also claimed that he sent Parkwood Entertainment the short film, so he knows that several employees who worked on Lemonade had access to it. Now, 1 month after his June 2016 filing, Beyoncé's attorneys hit back, arguing visuals including graffiti and person with heads down, a parking garage, and side-lit ominous figures do not fall under copyright infringement. Now, they also argued that the narrative was completely different, as Lemonade dealt with portraying an African-American woman who progresses through stages of suspicion, denial, anger, and ultimately reconciliation in her relationship. Now, the US District Judge Jed Rakoff agreed, dismissing the suit in September 2016, but hey, I can see the similarities. And finally, we have Jay-Z's infidelity. Throughout Beyoncé's and Jay-Z's relationship, there's been much speculation about them breaking up, cheating, and getting divorced. Though the couple have never directly addressed the claim, Beyoncé pretty much confirmed it on her album Lemonade, with the lyrics including, "This is your final warning, you know I give you life, if you try this again, you gon' lose your wife, and he only want me when I'm not there, he better call Becky with the good hair." Yeah, This is her pretty much deciding to call him out for cheating, and he did. He confirmed it. He said, "I was really proud of the music she made, and she was really proud of the art I released, and you know, at the end of the day, we have a really healthy respect for one another's craft. I think she's amazing," Jay-Z told T Magazine in 2017. He said, "You know, most people walk away, and like divorce rate is 50% or something, cause most people can't see themselves. The hardest thing is seeing the pain on someone's face that you caused, and then having to deal with it yourself. We did the hard work of going to therapy, we love each other, so we really put in the work for years. I like to believe that we're in a better place today, and I'm proud of the father and husband that I am today."
First up, let's have a look at James Franco and Tyrese. An on-set fight nearly destroyed the careers of these two prominent actors. While both of them have gone on to have very successful careers in some of the most memorable movies in recent times, the time they spent working together couldn't have gone any worse. While they were filming Annapolis back in 2006, Franco and Tyrese would constantly get involved in verbal disputes with each other, and eventually things took a turn for the worse and got violent. Tyrese revealed in an interview that the pair of young actors actually got into a full-on fistfight on set and had to be separated by the film crew. Tyrese tried to tell his co-star to back off and lighten up, but Franco apparently wasn't going to back down. The fight was apparently so bad that production of the movie had to be halted for a full day to allow the two actors to collect themselves and put aside their differences. While they were able to push through and finish the movie, it was so obvious that the working relationship between Franco and Tyrese was completely over. It seems like there is a very good reason why these two actors never really reconnected after this terrible affair. Next is Viola Davis and Jared Leto. Viola Davis called out her co-star for being too much like the Joker. Yes, when Jared Leto was taking on the role of the Joker back in 2016, he was really taking the job a little too seriously. Now obviously it's good for an actor to stay in character so they don't lose their touch, but it sounds like Leto took things a little bit too far. His co-star Viola Davis claimed that Leto would stay in character the whole time they were filming, and he would continue his character's psychopathic tendencies off set. The catalyst in the strange behavior was when Jared Leto apparently sent a box of bullets to Viola Davis. This seemed like much more than a joke to Davis, to the point where she was actually worried for her own safety. She had no idea if there was any sort of subliminal message behind the strange package, and she even claimed that she nearly pulled out her pepper spray. Viola went on to clarify that she was incredibly tough and even got into a fight when she was younger, but this strange moment really affected her in a very dark way. There have been multiple disturbing cases of actors taking their roles too far. This also isn't the first strange thing that Jared Leto has ever done. Aside from his outlandish outfits, scaling the Empire State Building to promote his band, supposedly running a cult, this honestly might not have been the weirdest thing that Leto's ever done. Next is Sarah Jessica Parker and Kim Cattrall. Friends turned to enemies after some very hurtful words were exchanged. They may have appeared as best friends on TV, but the two were anything but that off screen. The feud apparently all started around pay. A 2008 report actually revealed that Cattrall approached the producers about a pay increase after she found out that SJP was making considerably more money for appearing on the exact same show. The two stars have taken jabs at each other online and in the press on numerous occasions. It sounds like it went well beyond an internet feud. It has also been reported that Parker had convinced the studio to write Cattrall's character out of the rebooted version of their famous TV series. Cattrall claimed that this was a lie and she didn't return for the reboot just because she didn't want to. She also stated that SJP had no control over her career and she could make her own decisions. Parker even tried to make amends with Cattrall in 2018 after the passing of Kim's brother, but even that didn't work. Parker passed along her condolences, but Cattrall stated that she was not her family or her friend and didn't want her sympathy. This was a really nasty feud that just never ended up finding a solution. After that is Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson. The Fast and Furious set was in turmoil after these two superstars nearly came to blows. Now it's no secret that the Fast and the Furious is one of the biggest movie franchises of this generation. They have now generated over $7 billion in revenue over the last 20 years. But even with all the commercial success they were enjoying, two of the franchise's main stars became very agitated with each other on the set of the franchise's 8th film, The Fate of the Furious. Diesel and Johnson were apparently at odds for the duration of the movie's production, and The Rock even took to Instagram to publicly address his feelings about his co-star. He wrote that some of his co-stars conducted themselves as stand-up men, while others just did not. He then went on to congratulate the entire crew after they wrapped up filming for the movie, but Diesel was noticeably absent from Johnson's post. Well, this didn't go over well with Diesel, who also happens to be a co-producer of the film. He clearly held all the power in this scenario and made sure The Rock was absent from the following sequels. It seems like they might have set aside their differences now, as The Rock's return was teased at the end of Fast 10. So we will just have to see if these guys can actually get along and get back to producing ridiculous over-the-top action. Up next is Sylvester Stallone and Richard Gere. These two Hollywood powerhouses nearly came to blows over a messy lunch. It turns out that Richard Gere was supposed to appear in Lords of the Flatbush with Sylvester Stallone. He was cast alongside the Rambo actor in the film, but things took a very nasty turn while they were working together on set. It was pretty obvious that the pair didn't really like each other from the get-go. The film crew was probably expecting them to just put their differences aside and get on with the filming. Well, as it turns out, that was not the case. Stallone really wasn't too fond of his co-star's attitude, and seems like Gere believed that he was better than everybody else. Stallone stated that he would strut around his oversized motorcycle jacket like he was the baddest knight at the round table. But things really got spicy when the actors were practicing a fight scene and Gere got carried away in the moment. Stallone told him to back off after Gere grabbed onto him violently, but Gere was completely stuck in his character. But the one moment that really pushed Stallone over the edge was when the pair got into a car to have their lunch. Stallone was eating a plain hot dog, but Gere was chowing down on a very greasy chicken. Sylvester warned his co-star that it was going to get messy, but Gere didn't listen and dripped grease onto Stallone's thigh. That's when Rambo pushed his co-star out of the car and gave the director an ultimatum. And as we now know, only Stallone appeared in the film while Gere was sent packing. Up next is Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling. One of the most captivating romance films in recent times almost never happened. While many people were blown away by the chemistry between the two actors in The Notebook, turns out the two stars had a pretty tough time coexisting when the cameras weren't rolling. Director Nick Cassavetes revealed that McAdams and Gosling had to work through some pretty tough times on set in order for the movie to be completed. He stated that the actors didn't really care for each other too much, and it created some serious issues during production of the movie. The director even revealed that at one point, Gosling had asked him if he could bring in another actress to read lines with. Gosling also claimed that McAdams just wasn't giving him anything that he could work with. It was impossible to build any chemistry. This caused Cassavetes to force the two actors into a closed-door meeting so they could work out their differences, and that ended up turning into an all-out screaming match. Well, it seemed like the screaming match actually worked on this occasion because they were able to return to filming and actually ended up dating each other in real life. Their working relationship, however, was pretty much over after The Notebook. After that, let's look at Leonardo DiCaprio and Clint Eastwood. An on-set feud has completely tainted the relationship between these two cinema icons. The legendary Hollywood figures have appeared in front of and behind the camera for some of the greatest movies of all time. However, an on-set feud during the filming of Eastwood's 2011 film J. Edgar resulted in a terrible hatred that has only been building ever since. While they were filming a scene where DiCaprio had to react to a bomb explosion, the actor was just not pleased with his reaction. DiCaprio asked if he could do a retake to improve on his performance, and that is where everything went downhill. Eastwood is very well known for his one-take method of directing and declared that filming for the day was complete and walked off the set. Now, DiCaprio was so enraged by that incident that he turned down a role in another Eastwood film, and this left a very sour taste in the mouth of the legendary Hollywood creator. Both of these Hollywood icons have vowed to never work with each other again after this strange incident, but seems like the budding personalities were just never a good match for each other. Up next is Meryl Streep and Dustin Hoffman. Sometimes physical contact on set is just unacceptable. Meryl Streep is obviously a very well-known actress nowadays, and when she was just getting her start in the film industry, she had a very uncomfortable experience with Dustin Hoffman. Streep's first major film appearance was Kramer vs. Kramer with Dustin Hoffman, but things weren't always going according to plan on set. While the pair of actors were shooting the opening scene for the film, Hoffman decided to improvise with a very heavy slap across the face to Meryl Streep. Now, Streep obviously wasn't expecting this, and it sounds like it really hurt. Sure, Hoffman was just trying to emphasize his character's actions, but this was probably a little bit too far. But if that didn't cross the line already, he also used what Streep labeled emotional recall when he taunted her about her late partner John Cazale and his terminal illness. Streep was completely blown away by the strange encounter and found it really hard to forgive her co-star for this bizarre moment. And considering that this was only just the opening scene, we can only imagine that there were even more tense moments between the two actors on set. Up next is Charlie Sheen and Selma Blair. Charlie Sheen and drama really just go hand in hand. While Sheen was involved in plenty of controversies over the years that have earned him more than a few enemies, he ended up finding himself in yet another feud after starring in the sitcom Anger Management. Apparently, Sheen and his co-star Selma Blair did not see eye to eye on many topics, and this led to a ton of on-set altercations. While Blair was obviously not afraid to voice her displeasure with her co-star, it proved to be a rather risky move for her time as an actress on this show. In addition to being the show's lead actor, Sheen was also one of the series' producers, which meant that he held a lot of power over the show's casting and its direction. After various on-set fights and arguments between these two actors, it was announced that Blair's time on the series was finished and she would not be returning. Now, it was later revealed, however, that Blair had an issue with Sheen's work ethic and was not shy about letting him know. But instead of trying to work things out or actually improve on his performance, Sheen sent a flurry of angry messages to Blair letting her know that she was fired and she would never be welcomed back. And last but not least, the cast of Glee vs. Lea Michele. The Glee superstar's entire cast members turned on her after revealing that she was a terrible person to work with. Now, this was a show that captured the hearts of many across the world, but when the cameras weren't rolling, it was an incredibly tense affair. Samantha Ware absolutely ripped into Michele on Twitter, claiming her co-star made the working environment a living hell. She also claimed that Michele threatened to defecate in her wig at any given opportunity. Now, this obviously kickstarted some massive backlash against Michele, who lost brand sponsorships, and Ware wasn't the only person who had something to say about the Glee star. Heather Morris also stated that Michele was incredibly unpleasant to work with, and other Glee co-stars were even labeling her as a racist. Even Matthew Morrison, who played Mr. Schuster on the show, sort of alluded to the fact that Lea was incredibly difficult to work with. He didn't get into many details when asked about her on Food Bar Radio, but he did say that you want to be a pleasant person to be around, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Michele did try to save face by issuing public apologies, but it was so obvious the damage was already done. This was something that she really just never recovered from in her career.
American Psycho actress Chloe Sevigny is not too fond of Lawrence and made that fact known in an interview with E! News. The conversation that prompted the admission was about how Chloe wasn't like other actresses, as she isn't one to try and take on what other people want her to be. She isn't trying to be the pretty girl or the suggestive girl. In her words, "I'm not arching my back in every photo." She went on to say a couple names she admires, calling Angelina Jolie a great movie star and saying Emma Stone was really cute whenever she's herself. The star had few kind words when it came to Lawrence though, remarking that the Hunger Games star was annoying and too crass, adding on that she can do without her. Real Housewives star Erika Jayne and Hunger Games star Jennifer Lawrence got into a bit of a spat in 2022. Jennifer Lawrence is a big fan of reality TV. This is a fact that she has made known over the years, so that means she gets asked a lot of questions about it on red carpets, her opinions on certain shows, things like that. It's usually questions about the reality shows that gets the star in hot water, and we will cover more examples in this video, but for Real Housewives, this feud with Erika was sparked in 2022 right here in Toronto. Lawrence was in the city attending the Toronto International Film Festival for her film Causeway. While on the red carpet, Lawrence was interviewed by Variety. They asked what she thought about the current season of Real Housewives. Lawrence's answer: she found it kind of boring, and she thought Erika was evil. I would go as far as to say she needs a publicist ASAP. These comments, of course, grabbed Erika's attention. Erika made an appearance on Watch What Happens Live shortly after, where she was asked what she thought of all this, and she responded, "Well, you know, it's easy to label people when they are at their absolute lowest going through something in real time on television. I'm sure that we could unmask the ugly parts of her personality as well." The feud between Miley Cyrus and Jennifer Lawrence started because of a love triangle around the time when the Hunger Games movies were being filmed. Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth were very much an on-again, off-again kind of couple, so the timeline working in Jennifer Lawrence can get a little messy. Jennifer and Liam were starring as Katniss and Gale in the Hunger Games trilogy. On screen, the characters share a romantic attraction, and that seemed to start to move off-screen into real life. Some sources close to Miley at the time shared with Hollywood Life that Miley wasn't happy with this, and it was a big reason why she chose to get back together with Liam. It's unclear exactly how Lawrence felt about this whole thing, but she did admit something was going on when she admitted that her and Liam had makeout sessions on set off-camera. With both actors being main players in major superhero films, you'd think Jennifer Lawrence and Jared Leto would have something to bond over, but the pair haven't seen eye to eye since a misunderstanding at the 2014 Oscars. The year prior, 2013's Oscars, was the year of the big fall. Lawrence won Best Actress and looked amazing while doing it, but her dress had it out for her, causing her to trip coming up the stairs. This led to one of the most iconic Oscars moments ever, Lawrence's Disney princess fall. Lawrence handled it like a champ. She made the audience laugh with her signature humor,
humor, and it seemed people were still laughing even a year later. Jared Leto, his mother, and his brother, that is. As Lawrence was presenting 2014's Best Actress Award, Leto and his family couldn't seem to contain their laughter. This time, Lawrence hadn't really done anything to make them laugh with her, so the only explanation is that they must just be laughing at her. Not something you want to happen when presenting one of the biggest awards of the show, so she was a bit ticked off. However, it turns out Leto and co weren't laughing at Lawrence exactly. The host of the Oscars, Ellen DeGeneres, that year, had made a cheeky comment that caused the trio to crack up. All she mumbled was, "Don't fall." Of course, referencing the 2013 JLo moment, the misunderstanding did cause a slight rift between the two actors at the time. JLo might not be a big fan of JLaw, and it's not just because she stole her nickname. A misunderstanding at the Met Ball one year caused JLaw to think JLo hates her. The story of the incident was shared by Lawrence during an appearance on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. Speaking to Fallon, the pair's conversation shifted to the 2013 Met Gala and Met Ball, Lawrence sharing her encounter with the Jenny from the Block singer. Jennifer alleges that JLo refused to dance with her. JLo did try and clear the air during her own appearance on The Tonight Show shortly after. She explained that she wasn't rejecting Jennifer Lawrence because it was Jennifer Lawrence, but because the dance floor was super crowded and wild at the time. Fallon was actually there and had originally made a plan with Lawrence to ask JLo to dance, but bailed. To make it up to JLo and JLaw, he asked Lopez to dance on the show, and she accepted. Reality TV personality Spencer Pratt made it crystal clear how he feels about the Hunger Games star and her destructive habits. In the September 2017 issue of Vogue, Lawrence discussed how her house was flooded, and also why she thinks it flooded in the first place. In the magazine interview, Lawrence says that the flooding happened almost right after she had just thrown out a bunch of crystals and crystal balls she found in her house. Sounds suspicious. It was what Lawrence said about throwing out the crystals that sparked the feud between her and Pratt. Sharing the story of her move, Lawrence said, "When I first moved in, the house was crystalled out, crystals everywhere and geodes, and I was like, please get rid of these. I don't want people to come over here and think I'm a crystal person. I hate crystals." One thing about Spencer Pratt is that he loves crystals, carries some on him at all times even, so he was convinced that the crystal people Lawrence was talking about was him. He made these claims and more during a Facebook Live series called The Morning Breath. On the show, he said, "She was talking about me in Vogue like 100%. I'm the crazy crystal person she's clowning." He also revealed that he was just diagnosed with a new skin condition, which he also blamed on Lawrence, saying she caused it using voodoo and spells. Pratt said Lawrence was at the top of his beef list and that he was disappointed in Lawrence since she claimed to like the reality TV show he was on, The Hills. I mean, if Jennifer Lawrence watches a lot of that show, maybe she was referring to Pratt when talking about the crystal people, but I don't think we'll ever know. There was one time when Jennifer Lawrence and Kris Jenner got so close, Kim Kardashian started getting jealous. Lawrence has been a fan of reality TV for a very long time, we know that, so it makes sense that she also tuned into Keeping Up with the Kardashians and grew to love the show. One time, when Lawrence had apparently seen Kris Jenner in a lobby, she yelled across it to Kris that she loved the show. Soon, Lawrence actually properly met the family and grew to be a very close friend. Kris even started referring to Jennifer as one of her kids. Most of Kris's actual kids didn't have a problem with this, except Kim K. Around the time when this was happening, a source close to the family claimed that Kim viewed herself as Kris's favorite, but when Jennifer started getting closer to the family, she was getting jealous because Jennifer was getting so close to her mom. Allegedly, she felt like Jennifer was becoming her favorite. It seems that is now all water under the bridge, as Lawrence is just a super close family friend. Lala Kent and Jennifer Lawrence have not been buddies since some serious name calling a few years ago. Jennifer Lawrence made an appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen and said some pretty controversial comments about Vanderpump Rules star Lala Kent. Lawrence called Kent a runt, but with a C, on live TV because she is friends with the people she considers enemies, and to Lawrence that just feels very fake of her. When Lawrence referred to Kent as a runt, she meant it in a joking manner, but it's also understandable that Kent did not take it that way. Taking to her ex social media account, Kent posted and then ended up deleting 3 tweets directed towards the Hunger Games Games star. Of course, screenshots exist of these tweets and they read as followed. Did Jennifer Lawrence really just call me a runt on Bravo Watch What Happens Live and talk about my mama? You better pray I don't see you in the streets. You're one of the highest paid actresses on the planet. You claim you're a pro-woman and you call another woman a runt? You're gross. Later reflecting on the moment, Kent expressed that more than anything she felt disappointment. Speaking on it, Kent said, "No one wants to be called the C word, especially by an A-list celebrity on national television. I was such a huge fan of hers and it bummed me out," adding on that Lawrence should leave the trash talking to the people that do reality TV. Joan Rivers is known for her show Fashion Police, and that show is exactly the reason why she and Jennifer Lawrence didn't see eye to eye. While on the promo tour for Hunger Games Catching Fire, Lawrence was asked to speak on body positivity. Her response to the question included the show Fashion Police and how they encourage body shaming. Joan Rivers, the host of Fashion Police, did not appreciate Lawrence's comments and shared her thoughts on Twitter. The most iconic of the various tweets was the one referencing Lawrence's famous fall at the Oscars. The tweet reads, "Wait, it just dawned on me why Jennifer Lawrence fell on her way up the stage to get her Oscar. She tripped over her own arrogance." Not condoning anything here, but Joan ate with that tweet. Her other tweets compared Jennifer's attitudes towards the show now to what she would say before. One reading, "It's funny how Jennifer Lawrence loved Fashion Police during award season when we were complimenting her every single week." Another reading, "But now that she has a movie to promote, suddenly we're picking on all those poor helpless actors." Joan Rivers unfortunately passed in 2014, but the show carried on until 2017. A historic pop culture moment between Lindsay Lohan and Jennifer Lawrence was spawned due to a 2015 comment. Lawrence appeared on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert in December of 2015 to promote the movie Joy. The pair's conversation shifted to Lawrence's illness while shooting the movie in Boston. The host asking her just how sick she got, Lawrence responded with the controversial comment about Lohan, saying, "She gets Lindsay Lohan-like exhaustion, only without the substances." A year prior to the interview, Lohan did an honest interview with Oprah discussing her addictions and how she is doing, so the comments from Lawrence were not appreciated at all. Lohan's sister responded to the comments directly using her Twitter account, calling out the Hunger Games star, saying she was disappointed in her. Lindsay responded more indirectly with a quote from a Maya Angelou poem, "Still I Rise," and thanking her sister. She finished off her message with, "Maybe who you're referring to should learn to support others like hashtag Maya Angelou." This isn't the first time shade has been thrown. Lohan did an interview in 2014 where it's thought she implied that Lawrence used intimate means to get to the top. She also told the magazine she's so fake. When Lawrence won the Golden Globe in 2013, beating Meryl Streep, in her acceptance speech, Lawrence referenced the movie First Wives Club, saying, "I beat Meryl." However, if you don't know the movie, you might take that statement the wrong way, which is exactly what happened with Lohan. The Mean Girls actress took to Twitter to share her thoughts on the situation, tweeting, "No one should ever mess with a legend such as Meryl Streep." Kim Kardashian made an appearance, but she almost didn't even get to speak as she was met with loud boos instead of cheers. All she did at that point was walk on stage and the space was full of boos. Kim could barely start her roast. The host Kevin Hart had to step in and get the audience to quiet down. Kim was likely invited to roast at the event because the reality TV star was rumored to be romantically involved with Tom Brady in the summer of 2023. Kim even addressed the rumors head-on, saying, "Speaking of Tom and I dating, I know there were some rumors that we were, and I'd never say if we did or not. I just released the tape," referencing the first scandal of Kim's career and what many say was the spark for her fame, the infamous tape with Ray J from 2007. However, Kim shared that she didn't see her and Brady ever working out for a particularly interesting reason. Brady reminds Kim too much of her stepdad Caitlyn Jenner. The reality TV star shared that Brady's high cheekbones and the fact that he is also an ex-athlete, the similarities would be too much for Kim. As this section of Kim's roast was happening, a photo collage appeared on the screen showing Brady's transformation throughout the years, but the last two pictures were actually of Caitlyn Jenner. Kardashian finished off her roast with, "I'm just here tonight to support you and celebrate you. I'll give you the same advice I give all of my exes. Good luck knowing the best is behind you." Tom Brady did get back at Kim later in the evening with a joke she seemed to not appreciate. He had said, "I know Kim was terrified to be here tonight, not because of this, but because her kids are or at home with their dad, referencing Kanye's past erratic behavior. The remark drew laughter from the crowd, but not from Kardashian. When the camera panned over to the reality star, she only had a tight-lipped smile and an unimpressed look on her face. Fans online were quick to comment on the look, one writing, "If looks could kill, Tom would be deceased." The event was open to the public and football fans flooded the event, so that might be why the reactions to Kim got so out of hand. Will Ferrell's TV personality Ron Burgundy made an appearance, and it was incredible. The Ron Burgundy character comes from Ferrell's hit 2004 movie Anchorman: The Legend of Ron Burgundy. He's an over-the-top hotshot news anchor introduced during the roast as a living legend, a world-class lover, and the #1 news anchor in all of San Diego. Ferrell looked like he was having a lot of fun roasting the football players, speaking on how gorgeous Brady was, but this is a roast after all, and the praise didn't last long. Burgundy revealed that he never liked Tom, and that in all his years of watching professional football, he never saw a more boring quarterback, hammering the point home, saying Brady ruined football for all of us. Ron Burgundy was a big hit and an excellent surprise. Peyton Manning surprised the crowd when he introduced his rival Tom Brady for Tom's roasting time. Of course, a night all about roasting your enemy. Who wouldn't show up for that? But it was a surprise for the crowd as it was never officially announced that Manning would be there. He did a great job though. As he was introducing Brady, he let the crowd in on some details regarding the upcoming season of his show, Monday Night Football, saying that Bill Belichick was going to be helping him out and his fellow quarterback Eli Manning with their show, that they were so excited and that it was going to give the unemployed coach something to do. Peyton Manning finished off his little bit about the show saying, "It's gonna be awesome. Eli and I are super excited and it's gonna give Coach Belichick something to do, the chance to be around quarterbacks he respects." Shortly after the quarterback of the hour, Tom Brady made his way to the stage to dish out some roasts that we will get to in a minute. Comedian Nikki Glazer took the stage and roasted not only Brady, but also Rob Gronkowski, also a football player. Rob is also known as Gronk and isn't exactly known for his intelligence, to put it nicely. I mean, when it comes to crypto, it seems Brady isn't the most intelligent either. He was an ambassador for a crypto company that was originally valued at over $32 billion, but when it crashed hard, and Brady reportedly lost about $30 million. Glazer used the situation as the inspiration for a double hit roast, saying, "Tom lost $30 million in crypto. Tom, how did you fall for that?" Even Gronk was like, "Me know that, not real money." The roast was met with lots of laughter, even from the parties roasted. Gronk did have his moment to roast, don't worry, but it was a glass shattering that was the most surprising aspect of his section, and Gronk was the one to shatter it. Gronk not only took shots at former teammates and coaches, he also took shots with them. Finishing up his roast, he and those he roasted knocked a glass back together. The energy was high, and this was clearly not people's first glass of giggle juice, and Gronk seemed to have gotten swept up in the excitement. He spiked his glass on the stage, not like spike as in like put something in it, spike like the football term, throwing something to the ground forcefully. It's a signature for the player. He threw his little glass to the ground, the shattered pieces flying. When it happened, the situation was met with cheers, but social media users were quick to point out how dangerous the stunt was. There would have been people sitting decently close to where the glass shattered. Many people pointed out someone could have lost an eye or been cut by the shards. Plus, now the stage is covered in glass, although Gronk allegedly offered to sweep it up. It wasn't just a night of roasts, it was also a night for revenge. Drew Bledsoe got revenge on the former coach that benched him for Brady, Bill Belichick. When Brady was first breaking into the football scene in the early 2000s, he was brought on to the New England Patriots. But to do that, another player was benched, Drew Bledsoe. Luckily for Drew, he wasn't out of the game long. The Buffalo Bulls picked him up. So it all worked out in the end. But the drama from the situation, it was fun to follow at the time, and it has followed the three men throughout their careers. It was also the inspiration for some epic roasts last night. The trio reunited for the greatest roast of all time. Belichick left the Patriots a few months ago and has yet to find another coaching position, something Drew was not afraid to comment on. Coming face to face with the man that benched him, Drew said, There were rumors that Coach Belichick was going to be here tonight. Turns out he has some time on his hands. Look, at least when I got fired, somebody else wanted me. A devastating blow. With all the roasts being thrown his way, it's only fair Tom Brady gets a chance to say his piece. No one was safe. Manning was one of the first to get burned. Brady saying, "I know sometimes you live in Denver and sometimes you live in Louisiana, but you'll always live in my shadow." He wasn't afraid to reference and maybe even admit to some past scandals of his, like Deflategate. Deflategate happened between 2014 to about 2016-ish. Tom Brady was accused of deflating the footballs when the Patriots won the 2014 AFC Championship game. He got a 4-game suspension and the team had to pay a fine of $1 million. The NFL did an investigation of the incident that ended up costing $20 million, and Brady ripped into them for that one. He said, "The NFL spent $20 million and found that it was more probable than not that I was generally aware that someone may have deflated my footballs. You could have just given me the $20 million and I would have just told you I effing did it." This particular moment was met with not just laughter but also a standing ovation. Not even the audience was safe from Brady that evening. He double flipped them off as he exited and told his critics to lose his number. Back with Drew Bledsoe, because he didn't just get revenge on his former coach, but also directed some jabs at the man that caused him to get benched in the first place, Tom Brady, of course. The highlight from his roasts about Brady were him comparing what he has with what Brady does. Bledsoe said, "Look, buddy, you have more rings than I do," referring to Super Bowl rings, "but I've experienced a couple of things you never will experience. The feeling of being the #1 overall draft pick in the NFL and a 28th wedding anniversary. It was yesterday." Obliterated Brady with those ones. Though Brady was the cause of Drew getting benched, he wasn't the top pick of the draft that year. He wasn't even the top 10 or the top 100. He was 199th. His standing in the draft matters little now, but it was great inspiration for the roasts yesterday. Of course, comments about Brady's divorce from supermodel Giselle was a hot topic, but many agree host Kevin Hart roasted the situation best. It happened during Hart's opening speech. Opening roast? It really set the tone, letting the audience know nothing was off limits. Brady and ex-wife Giselle were together over a decade but divorced in 2022. One reason that made its way around the internet and various celebrity news sites was that Brady was working too much and not being supportive enough at home. When he retired and then came out of retirement shortly after, that encouraged the rumor. It was pretty big news at the time, which is why Kevin Hart just had to bring it into his speech. Hart said, "When you got a chance to go 8 to 9 and all it will cost you is your wife and kids, you gotta do it." That wasn't the only time Kevin incorporated the storyline into the roast, but it was a fan favorite. Again, nothing was off limits for the event. While that's not completely true, there was one thing Brady seemed touchy about. Jeff Ross has made a name for himself with his comedy and his ability to roast celebrities like no other. It makes sense that he would be the one to cross over the line and cause Brady to actually get out of his seat to stop him from speaking. Ross is known as the Roastmaster General after all. But what exactly was the roast in question? Ross began referencing the New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft. Brady played for that team almost 2 decades, and even him getting to the professional level is regarded as amazing, as he was the 199th pick in the draft, chosen in the 6th round. The Roastmaster General commented on that before bringing in a different aspect of the Patriots team, the owner. Ross said Tom became a Patriot and moved up to New England, and on the first day of training camp, that scrawny rookie famously walked into the owner Robert Kraft's office and said, "I'm the best decision your organization has ever made. Would you like a massage?" With absolutely no context, this just sounds like an odd thing to say, but with the context, it's a highly suggestive comment. Patriots owner Robert Kraft was involved in a 2019 massage parlor scandal, one where the massages weren't the most appropriate in nature. He never ended up getting charged as there was a lack of evidence, but the scandal has been attached to his name ever since. Brady seemed to not appreciate the implications of Ross's roast, getting up from his seat, walking over to the comedian, and whispering into his ear, "Don't say that again." Ross took it in stride, nodding his agreement and finishing off the remainder of his stage time.
Starting off, we have Vin Diesel. While filming Fast and Furious 8, Dwayne Johnson shared a since-deleted Instagram post to criticize some of his male co-stars in 2016. Some conduct themselves as stand-up men and true professionals, while others don't, he wrote. Later, it was reported that this criticism was aimed at Vin Diesel, something Dwayne all but confirmed when he thanked pretty much everyone from the Fast and Furious franchise on Instagram, except for Vin Diesel. While The Rock later told Entertainment Tonight that the feud was the result of different philosophies, Vin, who typically seemed eager to shut down any talk of their feud, shed light on their relationship. Dwayne has only got one Vin in his life, he told USA Today, before explaining how he paved the way for Johnson as the first multicultural megastar in Hollywood. Dwayne Johnson only has one big brother in the film world, and that's me. I'm always rooting Dwayne on. Hey, he can support him from afar without wanting to work or be near him, which I think is the case here. Up next is John Cena. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was the face of WWE in the 90s until his Hollywood career took off, and John Cena had his own WWE takeover as The Rock switched to movies. Now this then led to a feud between the two. Although they are best friends today, The Rock told Jimmy Kimmel that before John became one of his best friends, the former WWE rivals had real problems with each other. In 2011, John was mouthing off to fans about how The Rock hadn't been in the ring in 8 years, and questioned whether or not The Rock even cared about the business. John then got even more angry when The Rock didn't attend the 15th anniversary show or make an appearance at WrestleMania because he was filming. Now The Rock says in an old clip that John was popping off at the mouth. Now, John said all of that, of course, before he himself began focusing on acting. He was asked about this retrospective hypocrisy in an interview with Gorilla Position a decade later, and he apologized, saying he was wrong. "I called him out as someone who had tunnel vision in the WWE and didn't understand the process that when you make a movie, you're not allowed to do anything else." But hey, at least they were able to make up. Then there's Randy Orton. Wrestler Randy Orton made it known that he didn't like The Rock when he was asked about an upcoming WrestleMania match between Dwayne Johnson and John Cena during a 2011 ESPN interview. After initially using the question to slam Johnson for stepping away from wrestling and focusing on acting, Randy criticized The Rock's abilities. "I think Cena is wittier and can go off the cuff. Cena writes his own stuff while The Rock has stuff written for him. It all just comes down to who you are in the ring and what kind of performer you are in the ring, and I think Cena is 10 times the performer in the ring than The Rock is." Ouch. Now later on recalling this interview, Randy revealed that he actually got in trouble for putting all that out there. Moving on to Kevin Nash. For those of you who don't know, there's a long-standing legend in wrestling that Kevin Nash wasn't thrilled with The Rock after he went off script during a promo. According to rumors, The Rock improvised the famous line, "Big Daddy bleep," which caught Kevin off guard. More importantly, Kevin allegedly felt that the insult made his character look weak. He went on to claim that Johnson tried to manage their matches too much, reportedly asking him, "What one thing do you want to do here?" Kevin, though, has more recently said that he respects Johnson, telling Daily DDT in 2019 that he credits The Rock for being the wrestler turned actor who opened the door for all of us to Hollywood. However, it seems clear that there was some bad blood between the two. Now we have Tyrese Gibson. When The Rock and Vin Diesel were fighting, Tyrese Gibson made it clear that he wasn't involved in any drama. In a now deleted post on Instagram, he explained how he felt about The Rock. "He's my brother, we have never had a problem and will never have a problem." Now that didn't last for too long though, as Fast and Furious 9 was pushed back a year, and shortly after it was revealed that The Rock had scored his solo spin-off, Hobbs and Shaw. Tyrese wasn't having any of this though, and he slammed him on Instagram for making the Fast and Furious franchise about you, and questioned whether it would be another #Baywatch, which was a rebooted movie that The Rock starred in that flopped at the box office. While Hobbs and Shaw would take the top spot at the box office though, Tyrese posted another public shot at Johnson for the movie's less than stellar opening weekend numbers compared to other Fast and Furious movies. But when the film started to pick up steam globally, Johnson made sure to let certain people know by tweeting, "Remember, the best way to shut the mouth of a clown is to flex with success and a smile." Tyrese later admitted regret over how he aired out his grievances, but he has yet to publicly apologize. Let's talk about Shawn Michaels. Now, it's not exactly clear what happened between Shawn Michaels and Dwayne Johnson, but there are a couple of different accounts that suggest these wrestling legends never really liked each other behind the scenes, which might explain why they never faced each other in the ring. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter suggested that the feud started when Shawn reportedly disrespected The Rock's promoter grandmother in the the 80s. It's said that as The Rock was rising in the WWE ranks, Shawn did all he could to bring him down. But now that plan might have backfired. Now when The Rock became the WWE's biggest star and got to wrestle whomever he wanted, Shawn was never considered. "I was never ever interested in working with him, to be honest with you," Johnson told WWE.com. On to TJ Perkins. Professional wrestler TJ Perkins took a shot at The Rock on Twitter and, well, it didn't end well. When TJ was asked if there was a motto or quote he lived by every day, he gave an uncensored version of the Nike slogan, "Just effing do it." Now another follower then suggested a quote from The Rock himself, "Always be the hardest worker in the room." Now it's here that TJ appeared to give Johnson a jab, tweeting alongside a wink emoji. That goes without question, but real ones don't say it out loud. Yeah, now The Rock didn't really appreciate that and made sure that TJ knew it. He tweeted in response by saying, "Yeah, that Rock fella has a big mouth. I've never heard of you, CJ, but I wish you the best of luck in the wrestling biz, champ." Then there's the Red Room cast and crew. This week, the entertainment news outlet The Wrap reported that The Rock was up to 8 hours late to set while filming the upcoming Christmas-themed action movie Red One, meaning that the crew had to shoot around him on some occasions. Now the outlet also reported that the Red One budget has grew way past $250 million as a result of several production issues, including The Rock's lateness. It also reported that he tried to save time on other sets by peeing in Voss water bottles, which upset some crew members. And yeah, no kidding. An anonymous source that The Wrap said knows the actor well said on set away from his trailer if he needs to pee, he doesn't go to the public bathroom, he pees in a Voss water bottle and his team or a PA has to dispose of it. Yeah, that sounds like an absolute nightmare. Next up is Ahmed Johnson. To say that Tony Norris aka Ahmed Johnson can't stain Dwayne Johnson would not be entirely accurate, but the former wrestler certainly hasn't been shy about sharing gossip about his colleague. In an interview with the Work and Punch Productions in 2016, Ahmed shed more light on his locker room scuffle with The Rock. "I didn't like the fact that he was getting a little too cocky for me and we had a match coming up, matter of fact that same night. We was going to do the match and I was willing to do his high spots, but he wasn't willing to do all mine. We got into a little confrontation back there." And finally we have Rebecca Ferguson. Now this is just speculation, so don't take it to heart, but in 2024 Rebecca Ferguson claimed that an unnamed co-star screamed at her. On the Rain podcast, Rebecca explained, "I did a film with an absolute idiot of a co-star, and this human being was so insecure and angry because this person couldn't get the scenes out. I would cry walking off set. This person would look at me in front of the whole crew and say, 'You call yourself an actor? This is what I have to work with. What is this?'" Yikes. Now the internet has done some sleuthing to try to figure out who she was talking about, and one of the most popular theories was that she was talking about The Rock. Now Rebecca worked with him on the 2014 film Hercules. However, he was also the first person to publicly support her after the comments were made, stating on Twitter, "Hate seeing this but love seeing her stand up to BS. Rebecca was my guardian angel sent from heaven on our set. I love that woman. I'd like to find out who did this." But him making this statement actually made fans more suspicious of him, thinking he was covering up something. So, was it The Rock? I guess we'll never know, but some people are convinced that it was him. Starting off, we have Hide Me. Now Taylor loves to hide in random places and have her team push her around. In 2017, she was hiding from the public due to her Kanye and Kim feud. Now she didn't want people seeing her, and her fans speculated that she was hiding in a black suitcase that was always seen around her building, even though Taylor herself was never spotted. Then in an interview with British Vogue, Zayn Malik seemed to confirm the long-standing rumor that Taylor actually does sometimes travel inside a giant suitcase. When asked about his relationship with Taylor and her ability to avoid paparazzi, his eyes went wide. "She was traveling around in a suitcase," he revealed. Not to mention, one of her neighbors confirmed it to a gossip blog as well. Now, it appears that for her Eras tour, she's hiding in a janitor's cart so fans don't see her backstage. Fans who attended her concert in Arlington, Texas had finally caught her in the act. Now, prior to the show, fans noticed a large janitor's cart was being rolled towards the stage each night before the concert began, and they speculated that Taylor may have been hiding inside. Now, my question is, are these things made to order for her? What else has she hidden? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Next up is her green room. Showbiz reporter Dean McCarthy has said that in Taylor's green rooms, she needs an iced Americano from Starbucks delivered to her room at 11 a.m. Dean went on to say when she first started in the industry, she only wanted snacks in her dressing room. She used to just have edamame, beans, and some water and some snacks. But the Los Angeles-based reporter said as Taylor has become more popular, so have her demands while touring. Now she's gone to another level, he said. There's Red Bull, the energy drink, macaroni and cheese, and by 11 a.m. every single day of her tour, she has to have her Starbucks iced Americano delivered to her room. But hey, I think this could be way crazier. Then there's I can use my private jet. In the summer of 2022, Taylor was one of several celebrities who were called out for their private jet usage, which can contribute to an excess of CO2 emissions and harm the environment. Now, a study from the marketing firm Yard named Taylor as the #1 offender, alleging in a report Taylor's shortest recorded flight of 2022 was just 36 minutes, flying from Missouri to Nashville. Now, she was accused of polluting the earth by flying her private jet 170 times between January 1st and July 29th. Now, the research gathered by Yard shows results for which celebrities are the worst private jet CO2 emission offenders, with Taylor racking up more than 22,000 minutes in the air, or the equivalent of 16 days. Now, a spokesperson for Taylor issued a statement at the time noting, Taylor's jet is loaned out regularly to other individuals. To attribute most or all these trips to her is incorrect. Now, why even have a private jet though if you don't use it? Moving on to dating rules. We all know that Taylor and Travis Kelce have been dating for a while now, and it's been said that Taylor has set some crazy rules for him. Friends claim that Taylor has asked Travis to FaceTime her, not just text when they're apart, with a source noting that she didn't overtly say it, but she secretly wants to see where he is and who he's with. Taylor's a good judge of character and fears that some of his buddies are red flags. And it seems like Taylor just wants him to make good choices. It doesn't seem like she's trying to be so controlling. But this isn't all though. It's also been reported that additional rules for Travis include not going to strip clubs and getting pictures clicked with female fans. Now, this rule is to avoid any misleading dating rumors, but it appears the Chiefs star broke this rule when he went to a club with Patrick Mahomes as he continued his Super Bowl celebration. He visited a club in Las Vegas on February 23rd, and according to Daily Mail, Travis was spotted surrounded by women and was seen speaking to some of them as they partied together. Now let's talk about Credit Me. In April 2016, when Taylor was still dating Calvin Harris, he released his iconic collab with Rihanna, This Is What You Came For. Now, it's a great song, but it didn't take long for some Swifties to notice that there's one particular ooh 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 in the background that sounds a lot like Taylor. Now, some of the fans were called crazy for this, but then a couple months later, it turned out that they were right. Which leads us to the identity of Nils Schaborg. Now, Taylor didn't just provide backing vocals for the song, she actually helped Calvin write it. It was a big mess when the news was revealed, as it was just after their breakup, and Calvin actually denied that Taylor helped. There was a co-writer listed on the song credits called Nils Schaborg, and no one had ever heard of him, so Swifties just assumed that was Taylor's fake name for the track. Now, of course, they were right, which she confirmed by putting the name on a gravestone in the video for Look What You Made Me Do. She later told Paul McCartney in a conversation for Rolling Stone, I wrote under the name Nils Schaborg because those are the two most popular names of Swedish males. So, there you have it. Then there's change your style. Something else that Taylor seems to have an issue with Travis is his wardrobe. And I mean, I can't blame her. I've seen some pics of clothes he's worn in the past and they are just straight up ugly. Though she admits she's no fashionista, Taylor splashed out $500,000 to help Travis dress better, alleges a source, pointing out that the singer's own Super Bowl look alone cost over $60K. Taylor says she's not changing him, it's an evolution. Hey, if Taylor's willing to splash out the cash for this new look, why not embrace it? Now, the source said the bottom line is that she feels they could really be endgame. She doesn't want to control him, just help. He's under a microscope now more than ever, noting the headline-making athlete currently appeared in commercials. Now Taylor's on tour and she sings 40+ songs and performs for over 3 hours a night. Now her shows are intense and you need to prepare for that. Taylor revealed her exercise routine and it is crazy. The tour required intense physical, mental, and emotional requirements, and Taylor told Time in an interview for 2023 Person of the Year that she wanted to subvert the fans to repay them for the effort they put in to attend her career retrospective concert. Taylor began getting into shape for the Eras Tour 6 months before her tour kicked off in March in Glendale, Arizona. Now her training regimen included running on the treadmill every day while singing the entire Eras setlist aloud, fast for fast songs, and jog or a fast walk for slow songs, following a specialized strength, conditioning, and weights program at her gym, and doing 3 months of dance lessons. Before the show started, Taylor says she and her team camped out in the Glendale Stadium. "We actually got to be in the stadium for almost a month, running the show several times a week," she said, "so that was extremely helpful." Now, unlike on her previous tours, during which Taylor said she behaved like a frat guy, she stopped drinking alcohol to prepare more rigorously. "I was really disciplined about drinking," she said. "I stopped drinking for a couple of months before the show, except for on Grammy night, which was hilarious. I gave myself a fun night for that one." She then kept up that practice throughout the tour's run. "Doing that show with a hangover," she said, "I do not want to know that world." And hey, I don't blame her. Now we have Stop Tracking My Private Jet. In late December, Taylor's team hit up Jack Sweeney, a junior studying information technology at the University of Central Florida. In the letter, attorneys from the law firm Venable accused Jack of effectively providing individuals intent on harming her with nefarious or violent intentions a roadmap to carry out their plans. Now Jack provided the link to that letter in an email to the Associated Press, and in that message he emphasized that while he never intended to cause harm, he also believed strongly in the importance of transparency and public information. "One should reasonably expect that their jet will be tracked, whether or not I'm the one doing it, as it is public information after all," he wrote. Now a spokesperson for Taylor echoed the legal complaint, saying that the timing of the stalkers suggest a connection to Jack's flight tracking sites. Now the problem was that he was updating in real time, which could put Taylor in danger, and her team wanted it to stop. She has had some very scary run-ins with stalkers, so I don't blame her for not wanting her live location updated all the time. Up next is Don't Ask Me About Karlie Kloss. In 2014, Taylor and her BFF Karlie Kloss were seen kissing at the 1975 show back in December. And Taylor's response to this? She tweeted about the gossip saying, "As my 25th birthday present from the media, I'd like you to stop accusing all my friends of dating me. #thirsty." Hey, you can kiss someone without dating them, but the idea of Taylor and Karlie being in a relationship was then born. They even have a ship name, Taylor. Now, there's a side of the Taylor Swift fandom that believes that Taylor is secretly gay and that she's dated many women and left Easter eggs about these relationships in her music, but hey, she just wants you to stop accusing her of dating her friends, regardless of gender. And finally, there's Don't Hurt My Fans. A lot has happened at the Eras Tour, but while performing in Philadelphia in May 2023, fans were shocked to see something that's never happened before. In a viral video, Taylor is mid-performance of her hit song Bad Blood when she notices something in the crowd that catches her attention. It appears that security were scolding a fan in the front row, and upon seeing this, Taylor took it upon herself to intervene. Noticing that the fan hadn't done anything wrong, Taylor said between lyrics, "She's fine," while motioning at security. Continuing to flawlessly perform the song, Taylor then shouted she wasn't doing anything to the security guard in question before starting to walk to a different part of the stage. However, the guard either didn't realize that she was talking to him or didn't care, and when Taylor noticed that they were still bothering the fan, she turned back and yelled, "Hey, stop." Needless to say, the star was widely praised for standing up for her fans. Don't mess with Swifties, especially in front of Taylor. Starting off, we have Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Now, fans were eager to see if the new It couple would make their debut at the Met Gala together, but unfortunately, those fans will be left disappointed. I know I sure am. Sources with direct knowledge told TMZ that the Grammy winner and NFL superstar were each issued individual invitations to the Met Gala, but both have RSVP'd no. Now, Taylor has a pretty good reason for skipping the event, which takes place on May 6th, because that's the same week she gets back on the road for her Eras tour with a stop in Paris on May 9th. Now, it's unclear why Travis declined the invitation, but it's fair to assume that he's missing it because Taylor won't be there. Or even better, because he'll be with her on tour. Hey, there'll always be other Met Galas, but the Eras Tour is a once-in-a-lifetime event, so I don't blame Travis for not going at all. Now hopefully they'll be able to attend the event next year together though. Next up is Gwyneth Paltrow. In an interview with USA Today, Gwyneth Paltrow condemned the Met Gala as being so unfun, saying that she was never going again after not being able to walk the red carpet alongside her then husband, Chris Martin. In 2013, she said, "It sucked. It seems like it's going to be the best thing in the world. You always think, oh my god, it's gonna be so glamorous and amazing, and you're going to see all these people, and then you get there and it's so hot and it's so crowded and everyone's pushing you." However, it seemed that she had a change of heart and later attended the event in 2017 and again in 2019 and 2022. But she was absent from the event in 2023 and it appears that she won't make it this year either, but hey, I don't blame her. Then there's Tina Fey. Despite managing to score an invite to the 2010 Met Gala, comedian Tina Fey thinks she won't be getting another one. In an interview with David Letterman, Tina called the event a jerk parade and told Letterman that he wasn't missing out on anything special. "Every jerk from every walk of life is there wearing like some stupid thing," she said, adding that her husband, Jeff Richmond, wasn't a fan. "Clearly, I'll never go again," she added. "You walk up these huge steps and I went and I dragged my husband along with me too, which I'm still in trouble for." Now she continued telling Letterman stories from the event, including how she ended up hanging out with Barbara Walters. But yeah, in theory it sounds fun, but actually being there, I don't know. Then we have Zayn Malik. Former One Direction member Zayn Malik only attended the Met Gala once, but according to him, once was definitely enough. Now he walked the carpet in 2016 with his then girlfriend Gigi Hadid, though he didn't have a good time. In an interview with GQ, Zayn described the event as self-indulgent. "The Met Gala is not necessarily anything that I ever knew about or was about, but my former stylist would say to me, this is really good for you to do. And no matter how strong you are mentally, you can always be swayed to do certain things." He continued, "Now it's not something I would go to. I'd rather be sitting at my house doing something productive than dressing up in really expensive clothes and being photographed on a red carpet." Now fans also believe that he may have been banned from the gala due to the disparaging comments that he made, according to Cosmopolitan. But honestly, I don't think he cares, as I don't think he would ever go again anyway. Now let's talk about Demi Lovato. Demi Lovato attended the Met Gala in 2016 for the first and last time. In an interview with Billboard, Demi said that they had a terrible experience after attending the gala while trying to remain sober. "I remember being so uncomfortable that I wanted to drink," Demi recalled, saying that they eventually left the event and attended an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting instead. "I changed my clothes but still had my diamonds on, millions of dollars of diamonds on in an AA meeting. And I related more to the homeless people in that meeting who struggled with the same struggles that I deal with than the people at the Met Gala." Yeah, that does not sound like a good experience, and I don't blame them for not wanting to attend again. Now Demi also called out a certain celebrity who had been awful to be around, saying, "This one celebrity was a complete B and was miserable to be around." Now according to People, the celebrity Demi had been talking about was allegedly Nicki Minaj, as the two had both been accompanied by designer Jeremy Scott. Amy Schumer recalled her first Met Gala experience in 2016 as being short-lived in an interview with Howard Stern. "I left earlier than I should have been allowed," Amy said, adding that she had met Beyoncé, who asked Amy if it was her first time at the event, to which Amy replied that it would be her last. Now she also candidly revealed that she believed the gala was a farce. "It's people doing an impression of having a conversation," she said. "We're dressing up like a bunch of effing a-holes. I don't like it. I have no interest in fashion. I don't care." Now, although Amy bashed the event, she ended up returning in 2017, telling Stephen Colbert that she had to go home early and black out on my own. She then made an appearance at the 2019 Met Gala, though not as a guest, but had stopped for a quick photo outside of the museum just before giving birth to her son. Moving on to Lena Dunham. Lena Dunham had attended the Met Gala in 2016, and she recalled having an awful time. Now, according to Page Six, both Lena and Amy Schumer talked about their Met Gala experience in Lena's weekly feminist newsletter, Lenny Letter, which has since been shut down. "You and I were literally sitting across from each other at the Met Ball, and it was a crazy countdown to when we could escape. You were like, we are honored to be here, we're honored to be here," Lena told Amy. Lena revealed that one major reason she'd wanted to go home so early: "I was sitting next to Odell Beckham Jr. and it was so amazing because he looked at me and he determined I was not the shape of a woman by his standards," she said. "He was like, that's a marshmallow, that's a child, that's a dog. It wasn't mean, he just seemed confused. The vibe was very much like, do I want to F it? Is it wearing a, yep, it's wearing a tuxedo. I'm going back to my cell phone," Lena continued. "It was like we were forced to be together and he literally was scrolling Instagram rather than have to look at a woman in a bow tie. I was like, this should be called the Metropolitan Museum of Getting Rejected by Athletes." Next up is Diddy. Now, this has less to do with him boycotting and more of him being banned. Now, he has been removed from the 2024 guest list following his recent legal issues. Now, if you don't know, Diddy's house was raided and he has lawsuit after lawsuit against him. Apparently, or from what I can gather, it's been somewhat of an open secret in Hollywood that Diddy is creepy and that you should never go to his house or parties. It appears though that the government really had a case against him and so much is being exposed. Due to this, no one wants to be associated with him, so it's no shock that he wouldn't be going to the Met. Now, according to the National Enquirer, when speaking about Diddy, a source said, "Now he finds himself grappling not only with the preservation of his reputation, but also with the loss of his standing with an industry that has unequivocally distanced itself from him." Yeah, I don't think he's gonna get invited to any award shows or events anytime soon. Then there's Jared Leto. Jared Leto told E! News that he unfortunately wouldn't be able to attend the 2024 Met Gala because he and his band 30 Seconds to Mars will be in Europe for their Seasons to World tour. Back on the road, Jared said, "It's been 5 years, I will be there in spirit with my head and my cat wishing everyone a beautiful night," he added. Now, in the past, Jared has had some very memorable fashion moments at the Met Gala, including in 2019 when he carried a replica of his head on the red carpet, and in 2023 when he dressed up as the late Chanel designer Karl Lagerfeld's beloved cat, Chopette. Now, I feel like people, especially some of the men, don't think outside the box like Jared does when it comes to his looks, so I'm sure he'll be missed dearly this year. And lastly, we have Billy Porter. Billy Porter will not be attending the Met Gala on Monday, May 6th to grieve his mother, who died in February. "I just lost my mom," Billy told E! News at the Time 100 Gala on Thursday, April 25th. "I have to take care of myself, so I'm doing that, and that means not going to the party sometimes." Fans of the Met know the time and consideration it takes to pull together a look, with most attendees spending months creating their red carpet ensembles. Now, Billy noted that he can't do everything and that he needs a break, joking, "Daddy's tired." Now, Billy publicly announced the news of his mother's death at age 79 in a joint statement with his sister. "We were right beside her when she took her last breath, wrapped in our arms," the siblings wrote via Instagram on February 29th. "Mommy lived life to the fullest despite physical limitations pressed upon her. She was the personification of true Christianity, and her unconditional love is a template that the world could benefit from employing." Now, their statement continued with, "Her example is what we continue to strive for." Now, Billy has become a fixture at the Met Gala thanks to his lavish looks year after year, but it is completely understandable why he won't be attending this year.